In today's Money Watch, we are talking about how to build credit. The national average credit score is 715, according to the latest report from FICO. And if you are curious about what goes into these scores and how you can raise yours, listen up. We brought in CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with some insight. Jill, good morning.
Good morning.
That national score seems pretty high, right?
It is actually really good. I know it's down a couple of points from like the absolute highest point, which was, I think, in 2023. But if you go back before COVID, the scores were like 704, 706. Then we saw a huge surge with all that stimulus, and people used their stimulus dollars to pay down debt, and that was really helpful. So you're right. I think 715 is a solid score. It is not something that you like should be, oh, I have to be perfect, but it's good to have a strong credit score. It makes your navigation of the economy a little bit easier.
Elaborate on that a bit. Why is the score so important, and what goes into the number?
Well, when you think about a credit score, what is it measuring? It's your ability to repay a loan. So the reason why a credit score becomes very important is it might determine how much and whether you can get credit, like in a credit card, in an auto loan. It could be about getting a mortgage. And so these are very big parts of people's financial lives. And when you think about what goes into a credit score, the folks at FICO, which is the biggest scoring company, there are other ones, have actually laid it out for us. The most important part of your credit score is your payment history, you paying your bills on time. Then there is the total amount that you owe, the credit, the amount of credit available, and there are some other parts like the length of your credit history. But I can't emphasize enough how important it is to pay your bills on time. That is really the cornerstone of a credit score.
So what score should people be targeting as a good score, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that...
And also, how do you improve your credit score?
Okay, well, obviously paying your bills on time is a really important part. So let's start with that. And then for many people, it's establishing automatic payments, because when you have an automatic payment, you're less likely to miss a payment. When you miss a payment, it really does ding your score. I think the other part of a credit score is people will say, oh, well, you know, I was at the store, they offered me a brand new credit card, and I got a 10% discount. This is bad for your credit score, because part of your credit score is the amount of credit that you have available. So, again, I think just opening up credit is bad. Also, the other idea here is that when you're paying off old credit cards, don't cancel them. Weirdly, canceling a credit card actually is bad for your credit score. So you can throw it into the back of your desk, and that can help you build up your credit score. But, you know...
Or you can freeze it in ice.
I guess
Which I've heard about.
I guess that's another way to think about it. I think that when we talk about credit and what you aspire to, you know, you want to have as strong credit as possible. You know, when you look at the credit industry and you look at this like, oh, it's exceptional if you're 800, you're going to get a good interest rate if you're in the 700s. You're going to get a decent rate. But below that, when you're below 700, in the 600s, you are going to actually end up paying more interest on a lot of your loans, and you may not even get a loan. So this is why we emphasize really paying attention to that score.
There's so much mixed messaging about whether you should use credit cards to build your credit or use debit cards so that you don't owe as much money, or buy now, pay later loans. What do you recommend? Well,
it is true that when you use a debit card, it does not contribute to your credit history. So it's good in that you're absolutely right. You know, it is, there you are, you're able to just pull the money from your account. A credit card and a buy now, pay later loan will actually allow you to establish that credit score. If you're worried about it, you can use a secured credit card, which is kind of a hybrid product. It's just a maximum limit on a card.
I've learned something new every time with you, Jill. Thank you so much, as always. And if you have a question about your financial life, do not worry. You can email Jill at askjill@cbs.com. She could answer it during an upcoming segment. And you can hear more advice on her podcast, one of my favorites. It's called Money Watch with, you know it, Jill Schlesinger. New episodes drop every Saturday and Sunday.